Okay, I'm going to show you my Bob Dylan record collection. I'm obviously doing it on iTunes because it's much easier for me to just click than, since there's so many records that and CDs that it would just be, you have a 15-minute limit on YouTube, so it would just be way too time consuming and difficult for me to go through all of them like that. And so I mean, I'm not going to be able to obviously talk about every single album, but I will, and I think I have all the stuff he's ever released, all the studio albums and bootlegs. I don't, obviously people are going to say, well, you don't have greatest hits CDs, and I know that because I don't need them if I have, all the stuff that he's, unless the greatest hits CD has, unreleased stuff or whatever, then I would have it. But other than that, I just see no need to get them because I have all the studio albums and stuff. So we'll start with Another Side of Bob Dylan, one of his great albums. 1964, songs like All I Really Want to Do, Chimes of Freedom, My Back Pages, and To Ramona, which actually, in a recent issue of Rolling Stone for Bob's 70th birthday, they did the 70 greatest Dylan songs, and Jackson Browne wrote about To Ramona, and just how he described it was really cool. It talks about, how there's not a word about the civil rights movement in the song, but it's pretty obvious to him that that's what the song's about. Talking about, he thinks that it's, he says, I've always seen Ramona as a young black woman at some New York party that she doesn't feel comfortable at. And there's Bob Dylan giving her emotional contact. And he sees her, beautiful black face and her, quote, cracked country lips and stuff. It's a great description, and really good. Great song. Next album is Biograph. Kind of a greatest hits album, but again, like I say, it says, it's got some unreleased stuff, some alternate takes. In particular, one of the unreleased songs, Percy's Song, is just a phenomenal song, and a lot of people know it more for being, in the Don't Look Back documentary that D.A. Pennebaker made about Bob's 65 European tour, or Great Britain tour, where Joan Baez does it plays Percy's Song in the hotel room, and it's just phenomenal. The next album, Blonde on Blonde, 1966, what can be said about this? I Want You, Most Likely to Go Your Way, Visions of Johanna, great album, a lot of people's favorite Bob Dylan album, just a phenomenal album. Blood on the Tracks is one of those albums that, Bob has a lot of these albums like this, but this is just one of those albums that you just play and just let it play and listen to Tangled Up in Blue, Simple Twist of Fate, Idiot Wind, Shelter from the Storm, just phenomenal songs. I like Shelter from the Storm is good on this, it's great on this album, but in particular the Hard Rain version, and the same with Idiot Wind too, because you think about Idiot Wind, I learned this in that Rolling Stone magazine, that I knew that he and his wife Sarah were going through a divorce, a pretty rough one. And you listen to the lyrics of Idiot Wind, and apparently she was in the crowd at one of those Hard Rain concerts when he played Idiot Wind, and it's just, you can hear it in his voice that he's sort of directing it at her, and it's kind of brutal. And but Shelter from the Storm at the Hard Rain concert is just unbelievable. Bob Dylan, self-titled, first album ever, 1962. Bob was 21, I think, 22, something like that when he recorded this. Obviously, it's got songs, like House of the Rising Sun, which is, my personal favorite. I like that version a lot more than I like the Eric Burdon version, or the Animals. Great album. The Budokan album, Live at the Budokan, is another one of those, because the Budokan's so controversial because they don't, I know that it's a martial arts place, I think, traditionally, and they don't really like music being played there, but I know a bunch of people have made albums there. The Bob Dylan scrapbook, I got this scrapbook for Christmas. It's the thing that they sell. It's kind of I think it's kind of a thing that goes along with the No Direction Home movie. It's got all kinds of cool little things in it, like copies of handwritten lyrics and stuff. And anyways, this is a CD came with it that had some cool, really rare interviews, which is cool. I mean, the thing comes with like these photos and like copies of what looks like his his high school yearbook and whatnot with his picture in it. He looks like a little girl almost. But here's the bootleg series, volume 1 through 3. These bootleg series are some of my favorite music, and it's hard to believe that some of these songs didn't make the cut on some of these albums. Great stuff, man. The bootleg series, volume 4, Live 66, great concert, also known as the Judas concert, because right before Bob plays Like a Rolling Stone, some idiot yells out Judas in the crowd, because of the whole controversy with Bob going electric with the band, with the Hawks eventually turning the band. Yeah, and they just didn't like it. And Bob sort of puts it in his place. You can't. I'm sure the crowd couldn't hear it, but you can clearly hear it on the recording after they sort of say the whole thing. They start yelling at him and stuff, and while he's sort of tuning up in between songs, and he sort of turns around to the band and says, "Play it fucking loud," which makes me laugh. The Rolling Thunder Revue Live 75, Bootleg Volume 5, awesome record. This is one of my favorite live concerts ever. This is at the Philharmonic Hall, Live 64 Bootleg Series Volume 6. This is sort of my favorite era of Dylan. I love his electric stuff. Some of my favorite songs are electric, but that acoustic stuff, I think his voice peaked. I just think that's the thing. Me being a guitar player, I understand that he's very, very, underrated as a guitar player and even a piano player. He's phenomenal. This is the companion. This is Bootleg Series Volume 7 that goes along with the Martin Scorsese documentary, No Direction Home. Got some really good stuff on there. This is Bootleg Series Volume 9. Volume 8 is later down the line. It's titled differently, so that's why it's not right here. But this is again, like I said, this is my sort of favorite era of Dylan. The Whitmark demos from 62 to 64. Bringing It All Back Home is just one of those albums. 1965, one of his best albums, recorded in just a couple days. Amazing record with Sally Grossman sitting there, the beautiful woman in the red dress. I think that's also Albert Grossman's house, so that chick is way too pretty for Al Grossman. But Desire, most people know this album because of Hurricane, obviously, which is a phenomenal song, and I love it. But probably my favorite song on this album is One More Cup of Coffee. I think Bob's voice sounds awesome in that. Down in the Groove, good album, 1988. I'll tell people that if you're going to listen to Dylan for the first time, buy some of his early stuff first, because that's sort of, you don't want to judge Dylan on some of his later stuff. Not that it's bad, but you just need to judge first on some of the earlier stuff. Okay, Dylan, 1973, great album, great cover, great album. An even better cover right here, Dylan the Dead, the live concert, 1989, the year I was born. I love this cover with the Dead. I'm not a big Grateful Dead fan at all, but I like the Grateful Dead skeleton with the harmonica, and Bob with his sunglasses with the Grateful Dead lightning bolt through it. Empire Burlesque is a good album. It's not one of my favorites, but it's a good album. I think mid 80s, 85. The Gaslight tapes. Some of these are the Gaslight tapes. These bootlegs are some of the best recordings you'll ever hear of Bob. Just him at a coffee shop. This is cool. This is sort of an interview / thing that he did for a radio show on March 11, 1962 with Cynthia Gooding. He'll sort of answer some questions, and then he'll play a song and talk about the song and then answer some questions. Pretty cool. The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, the album that made him famous, I think, with Blowin' in the Wind and Girl from the North Country, Masters of War, just, Hard Rain, Don't Think Twice. I mean, unbelievable album, one of his greatest, one of my favorite. This is what I've got playing in the background. I don't know if you can even hear it, but this is awesome bootleg tape of more Gaslight stuff. Good As I've Been to You, another one of those, 1992. Good album. He looks like Adam Sandler on the cover. Hard Rain, the best, one of the best, 70s Dylan live albums. Up there with Rolling Thunder Revue. It's just awesome. Like I said, Shelter from the Storm is awesome, is unbelievable. Idiot Wind, I explained what that was about. Highway 61 Revisited, I think is, huge because of Like a Rolling Stone and stuff like that. But probably my favorite Bob Dylan song is It Takes a Lot to Laugh, It Takes a Train to Cry. Probably my favorite Bob Dylan song. Infidels, known for the song Joker Man, great album. 1983, I think. John Wesley Harding, this was 1967, Summer of Love. Bob was sort of going back to his country roots. Great album. Knocked Out Loaded is a good album, 1986. This is a good live album too, from 63. Just Bob with an acoustic guitar, on Carnegie Hall stage. Awesome. This is like the other Gaslight tape that I have on from 1962. It's got some of the same songs, but it's also got, you know, the other one's got a little bit more, kind of. Love and Theft, I don't even know what to say about this album. As far as his more modern stuff, this came out in 2001, I think. This is his best of the 21st century, I think, by far. Modern Times, another one, 2006, great album. Nashville Skyline, 1969, you know, Woodstock was going on, the festival, and he was in Woodstock doing his own thing at his house. He sort of made Woodstock famous for musicians. Whoop. Yeah, New Morning, great album again, another great album from, I think, 1970, I could be wrong. Oh Mercy, 1989, year I was born, good album, not great, good. This is a soundtrack for Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. Good stuff. This is Real Live. It's a good live album. 1984, an early 80s album. Rollin' and Tumblin'. This is an EP for Rollin' and Tumblin'. Obviously, it's got some good songs on it. Saved. This is when Bob in 1980 or the late 70s and early 80s when Bob became a born again Christian. This is sort of that album that he sort of wrote when he became a born again Christian. As I said, this is Self Portrait. This gets some, you know, this gets mixed reviews. This is 1970, and he did a lot of covers and some stuff. Some people don't like it. I personally like it a lot. Shot of Love. It's a good album. 1981, pretty good. I love the cover. Great cover. Slow Train Coming. 1979, I think. Good album. Street Legal is a good album. 1977? No, 78, I think. Here's the Bootleg Series Volume 8. I like this because it's the you know, the rare and unreleased stuff from 89 to 2006, which is, you know, my lifetime, which is kind of cool. And there's a song on there called Most of the Time, which is an alternate take, I think, and awesome song. Time Out of Mind is a good album. 1997. It's pretty good stuff. And this right here, I mean, what else can be said? 1964. Times They Are Changing. You know, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, probably my favorite song on the album, besides, you know, the title track, is When the Ship Comes In. Just, oh, unbelievable lyrics. And if you know the story behind it, it's pretty cool. Together Through Life, this is 2009, really good album. I picked this up when it came out. Under the Red Sky, this is an alright album. It's, you know, 1990, I think, and then you got the Unplugged here. Pretty good. I like it. World Gone Wrong. This one doesn't get, I don't think it gets enough credit. I think a lot of people sort of dismiss it as sort of, I don't know, 1993, early 90s, and people just don't think that Bob had lost all his stuff. You know, when I think about it, Bob, when he was a kid, when he was 23, 24, 25, when he was singing with him just an acoustic guitar, he wanted to have that gravelly sounding voice, that rough, you know, 60, 70-year-old man who's been playing the blues his whole life. And now he has that. You know, and I think that that's awesome. And now I'm getting into, this is the Basement Tapes. If you don't have this and you're a Bob Dylan fan, and even the band, go get it, because it'll change your life. Great stuff. And this is another Bob Dylan and the band. This is Before the Flood. Very good. The Planet Waves, this is good. It has some alternate takes of Forever Young on it. Unbelievable. And then last but not least, this is a duet, bootleg with Bob Dylan and Van Morrison. You know, yeah, you think, well, those are pretty two different dudes, but you know, very cool. I think it's very good. And that's my Bob Dylan record collection. Hope you enjoyed it.